Albert Davis.
Hey, Albert Davis.
One
is
hour
here.
later, welcome to Jits and Giggles.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, we'll have a little intro for people who don't know
Intro.
you.
Okay, is it like a drum roll kind of
Yeah.
deal?
So Albert's here because of Sean. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Albert knows a few people, so we got in. We've been fighting this for a while, but he had to get in because he knows a guy.
Yes.
Yeah, I just know a dude.
You were supposed to come on, but then I got sick, and then
Yeah.
just a bunch of shit happened.
Yeah.
So.
Life is lifing, and then here we are.
Exactly. So the background is, I'll tell you what I know. So from Sean and from yourself. So
Okay.
you're a purple belt at Balance.
Boom.
In
Yep.
Philly, correct?
Yep.
And then you also are a comedian full time.
Not full time yet.
Okay.
I really want to get
You're
to
working
full
on
time.
it.
I'd love to be full time. I think I'm close.
What's your daytime job right
What's
now?
my day? I'm a personal trainer.
Oh, cool.
I'm a model and an actor.
Okay.
Mostly commercials,
Very
all
cool.
commercials, and then
Wow.
comedian and father.
Oh, I love that you added that in.
Yeah,
That's
you like
really
that, right?
sweet. So
I
sweet.
just thought of that. I wasn't gonna
You're
say
like,
that.
my
I
wife's
just
gonna
thought
love
of
that.
Yeah.
And husband,
Yes, husband. Yeah,
of course. Don't forget
yeah.
now.
But you're gonna edit this, right? You just put those two together. You're gonna be a husband.
There's just no gap in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's talk about jujitsu first. So, how did you get into jujitsu? You've been training obviously for what, 5 or more years?
Yeah, I just tell people from the pandemic on
Okay.
because I trained before the pandemic and then everything shut down.
Yeah.
Kind of forgot things, and I just say from the pandemic on.
Okay.
How did I get into it?
Yes.
So I saw UFC many years ago, and it seemed like it wasn't real jiu-jitsu, right? And then in college we had the Ultimate Fighter season 1. That's like Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin, very big fight. So in college we were watching this stuff, and back then, like on that show, maybe there's like 2 black belts, and then no one else really knew jiu-jitsu, but they had an advantage for knowing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, this is very interesting to me. I watch this stuff. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? I'm watching a fight. I don't understand what a Kimura is or anything.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to learn that. But at the time, there wasn't a lot of jiu-jitsu around. So I didn't do anything. And then I was like 30-something years old. I was like, you should revisit that thing you were talking about. And then there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in Philadelphia. So I just kind of stumbled in, and then I just stuck around. And I did go in for the purposes of, like, fighting and self-defense.
Self-defense.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up. I never thought about that. Like when I'm trying to think back before jiu-jitsu, like when I would watch MMA, do people know that it's jiu-jitsu they're watching? Or is it just like they just think it's like MMA? Like, you know what MMA is when you're watching the UFC?
Yeah.
But do you think you were actually sitting there like that, like a Kimura is jiu-jitsu?
I knew that was a jiu-jitsu
You knew.
move, but I didn't even understand. Because I was like, so wait, is he twisting his arm, and which direction is he going,
Right.
and why is it 2 hands? And I didn't understand what I was seeing.
Yeah.
So that was where the curiosity like spiked. Is like, you're watching something, but I don't understand why the head and arm choke works. Like, what's happening to make it work? And I just felt like, as someone who's a fan of this, I should at least know something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I stumbled in and just hung around for a while.
Very cool. Because I was going to say, like, I feel like now it's getting less of a stigma, but I feel like for a long time there was a stigma. Like, people categorized jujitsu in the same realm as, like, karate for a while, but
Yeah.
everybody always liked the UFC. Like, you could sit at a bar and everyone's, like, super into the UFC.
Right,
but I
right.
feel like you don't get the same reaction if you say jujitsu. They're like, oh, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But the UFC is not stupid.
Right.
you
Well,
know?
you would never. I don't think you would ever see it like in a Dave and Buster's or like a jiu-jitsu match.
Exactly. But I feel like we are soon going
You
to
think
get
so?
I do think that, like,
I mean,
with
I could
Dana
see
White,
that.
we will.
We're watching people slap each other.
That's true.
I mean, like,
That
like
is
when
fun.
the dust settles, people are I say the dust settles, but they put that chalk and they slap the
Yeah,
shit out of
right.
each other. So literally, so I could see jiu-jitsu being a thing. I think you'd have to be a fan though, because if you weren't a fan, you'd be like, why?
Yeah, I think the disconnect is educating people to understand. Like you said, they need to understand what they're watching. I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's hard to teach somebody how to watch people punching each other. It's pretty
Right.
simple.
Right.
Punch them in the face, they get knocked out, they win.
Right.
I think jujitsu is hard for people to get interested because they don't know what the hell they're
Yeah,
watching.
yeah. One's very simple. Hard surface meets chin. You fall.
Exactly.
Jiu-jitsu is like, why would you lay on your back? Right? Why are you
Right.
letting him put his leg on top? Yeah.
And
whatever.
like I was giving this example before, like my parents were over recently and the UFC was on, and my dad, who doesn't follow anything, he was like, just because it was on, he was sat where you are, and he was just like, oh, this is cool. And then I was like, oh, let me show you my jujitsu match. And he was like, 1, not interested, and 2, just couldn't understand it because it's like I'm stuck in the girl's guard, and he thinks I'm
Your dad's like,
Doing
way to
well.
ruin my night. I was
Yeah.
watching this fight. It was awesome. Now I gotta watch these
Now I watch
two.
you rolling
What are
around.
those? What are those? Are you? Are you kidding me?
And he just doesn't understand. Like me being in someone's guard, he's like, "Oh well, you're on top. You're winning." So how do you explain to someone?
Yeah, that's not really what you see.
There's a
is that one.
disconnect.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I got in,
gotta
because I
educate.
didn't understand it. And
Yeah.
but see, I do think it's also interesting because when you watch MMA, you see a lot less of an array of jujitsu finishing moves. I remember seeing like an omoplata before I even knew
That's
what it
crazy.
was. I remember
Yeah.
seeing. I don't think you would see another omoplata for a while,
Right.
Or like, you used to see maybe like knee bars or like heels.
Yep.
Now I feel like it's back to like head and arms, rear nakeds, and Kimuras.
Yeah.
For the most part,
And it's
right?
kind of like up to the commentators to educate the viewer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're probably just sitting there listening to the commentator.
Right.
break it down.
And you're just hearing Kimura. Okay, I know
Exactly.
what kind of know
You
what one
Google
is.
it.
Yeah, arm bar. You understand an arm bar.
Yeah.
Or like a guillotine. That's one you think you understand, but when you learn the mechanics of it, you realize you didn't understand any of what was going on
Right.
at all. Yeah.
Interesting. So where did you start? Did you start at Balance?
Yeah, balance.
Oh,
yeah.
you started.
Yeah, I've been
Very
balanced.
cool.
That was the first gym I walked into. I
Why?
like it there.
Why was it?
I think Google got me there.
Okay.
I think it was
Shout
very
out to
simple. Like
Google.
Google got me there, and I went there and I enjoyed it. And I stuck around. I'm someone who's okay at not being good at things,
That's good.
like the process, which is I'm creating my own segues here. But I was talking to a jiu-jitsu person who's a very good competitor, Cindy. You know Cindy Ung, right?
I
That's
know
I don't even know
Cindy.
Cindy's
Yes.
last name.
It is. Yeah. You're
Like
right.
jiu-jitsu is interesting. You don't know anyone's name. But I was talking to her and I was like, "Hey, when did you start? She told me when she started." And then I was like, respectfully, "Why haven't you quit?" And I wasn't trying to. And she understood what I was
Yeah.
asking. But like, it is tough to do this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it hurts and your ego takes a hit. But if you're okay not being good at things, it's not a big deal.
Definitely.
That's kind of
No, it's a good question because I think there's so many hobbies people do quit. Like
Yeah.
like most things, like most sports we try, we lose interest, we quit, or even hobbies. I mean, first of all, I'm the worst. Like I've done royal icing, cookies. I bought everything. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like, have you ever seen the videos where like they get the icing and then they make designs
Yeah.
and the frosting sets?
okay.
They do it for like baby showers and stuff. They'll
Yeah.
put like writing on the cookies,
Yeah.
whatever. So it's a technique. So I bought like all the frosting, all the dough, all this.
The
I
bag.
did
You need the bag. Where
the
you squeeze it.
bag, the rolling pin. I
Yeah.
bought everything. I made one single batch of
It's
cookies.
all just sitting over there.
Literally, it's down my basement.
Yeah.
I walk by it every
Right.
day, and I'm like, well, that was
Right.
fun. I've done that times 100.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't? To
Right.
your point, why
there's
wouldn't
there's
this
a
be
bike in
different?
my basement sitting there right now. It's made of carbon fiber.
See?
It's-
Oh, and those are expensive.
Yeah, no, I did get it used. I'm
Okay,
not.
okay.
I don't got it like that. But yeah, I wrote it for a while. I enjoyed it. I liked it, and I stopped.
And then you're done.
And it's still sitting in my basement.
Yeah.
I probably should give it to someone because someone else would probably really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And golf is another sport I do. People quit golf all the fucking time.
Oh, definitely.
All the time. The same thing. They get involved. They buy the shoes. They buy the club. They get a lesson. They get a lesson. They get a lesson. They're $4,000 in, and they go, "I quit,"
Why do you think people normally quit things, if you had to say?
because not being good hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like embarrassing.
Yeah. You're like, that's embarrassing.
But you're a musician. This is you right here. There's a guitar right behind me.
Oh, I was like, because do you hear the music playing?
do, I
think
do
the
hear that.
ice
I was
cream
like-
man is driving around. Because I thought it was Alexa, and I'm like, what the fuck?
you should
am-
go
I'm
make.
like,
You should go make him some frosting.
I'm
right now.
ADD, so I'm like, why is someone? But yes,
I was
I
playing
play
this.
2 songs, but go on.
Okay, but
Again, another
It's
hobby.
It's hard to be a grown up and like have a guitar or like you can't really play it, right?
Yeah,
it
it's
kind of
embarrassing.
sucks.
And
then there's
everyone
like some
asks.
12-year-old out there who's like,
Right, motherfuckers.
I think that not being good is a really like sucking at something sucks.
It does.
You know?
And besides sucking, I think like time as an adult, just like you have to like if you want to, you will, but creating that time, you have to be very intentional. So you have to like it enough to want to create that time.
You're right, and probably sacrifice something else.
Yes.
Because like how many hobbies do you have? As
Well,
as
now
grown-up?
like just jujitsu. It
Okay.
used to be a lot, but I feel like I've narrowed it down.
As you
to
get older,
one.
that
Yeah.
funnel gets. So I play golf. I do jujitsu with my family.
Yeah.
And then other stuff, but that's a different folder,
Yeah.
right? So you're only going to be able to do at best 2 or 3 things,
That's true.
if you want to get good at any one thing, right?
Yeah.
You can't do 40 different things.
Definitely.
So yeah, you kind of move up and you're like, all right, so I'm going to be this guy. I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. I'm going to play golf. And I'm going to,
Yeah.
it works. It's fun.
I feel like they're pulling into my driveway.
They are like
Why
in the
is
thing.
Why is it so loud? Sean just starts pulling out dollars.
This guy's trying to make some sales. He's like, turn the music up. No one's coming out. They can't hear us.
Are they? Okay, because I was like, Jesus.
Maybe he does jiu-jitsu.
But no, you're right. Like, and I do. Well, you see, I hunt. I do other things. But I feel like I used to do more of that, and now when it comes to having to choose what I do on my Saturday or whatever, I tend to choose jujitsu.
Well, so I'm going to interview
ahead,
you.
flip it
Why haven't you quit?
I've asked myself this question because I really would love to know, because I am a quitter when it comes to hobbies. Okay, specifically hobbies. I think it's because I can never, how do I say this? Like, I can never complete it. Like, you can't complete.
Yeah.
There's no ending.
There's just another page to this book.
Yeah.
There's just another.
Like, I can go out hunting. I mean, I guess you could say that about anything, but with hunting, for example, like, my goal is to kill this animal. And I like spend all season long and I stalk it and I do all these things. And then eventually I kill it. And I just feel like I succeeded. I don't need to think about it until next season or however long. But with jiu-jitsu, it's like, I'm just getting fucked up every day, Albert. Like, I just feel like I need to keep showing up to like try to get to that next goal.
Yeah. I mean, just keep showing up. That's what it is. Just don't quit. I think there's a lot of things in the world where if you just don't quit, you will end up so much better and so much closer to your goals, if not hitting all of them, if you just don't quit.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even know if this is a real thing, but 33% of the time it's going to be good, 33% of the time it's going to be bad, 33% is going to be indifferent.
Yeah.
I think that for me, that's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Today's one of those bad days.
You're right. I've heard that, and that does get me through.
3 out of 9 of these are going to be bad. Today's one of the bad ones. Keep it moving. This is in the budget for bad. You're fine.
Definitely.
Then you had a great day. That's 33% of the time. Enjoy it. Keep it moving. That works for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think, as you're talking, I'm thinking the community, I think, is a big part of it too.
100%.
Because you start depending on each other, because you do need somebody in order to do the sport. Like, you don't really need somebody to do every hobby, but this specific sport, like, you need somebody there in order to get better. So you start like depending on each other. I feel like that kind of makes me go back too, because if I don't go for like a week, someone's gonna text me.
Your phone should make noise at some point.
Yeah, they're like,
yo,
what
bro,
the
where
fuck?
you at?
Yeah. Even like annoyed, like, hey, I didn't have a partner today. So it's like, I feel like that's a part of it too.
Yeah, I agree. And I probably like 98% of the people I train with. like them.
Is Sean the other 2%?
Sean and Kelly.
Sean and Kelly. Damn.
I like most of the people I'm around. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if I like them because we're doing jiu-jitsu together, but I know we're on the same. We are on the journey together.
Yes.
And it is very fulfilling when you see someone who's not struggling with arm, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then in like 3 weeks, you're like, holy shit, you're serious with this, right? Like, you got nice at this.
Yeah.
I feel good about that also when my friend and my training partner, when they excel, I also feel good about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel like,
you were a part of it.
Yeah.
Like,
and we're getting better together.
Definitely.
Like, look where we all were 2 years ago. Look where we are now. This is fucking cool.
Yeah. And also, jiu-jitsu is one of those sports where, like, of course, being a natural athlete's helpful, but like, you can honestly be the worst athlete and you will get better if you keep showing up.
You will?
Like, you really will. Like, it's almost impossible for you to not get better if you're truly
showing up and trying.
Yeah. And trying.
Trying with like some type of structure or something being worked on. You will get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have seen some of the most, I mean, I'll even add myself to the category, some of the most uncoordinated people, and it's like a year later, like, they are doing jiu-jitsu.
They're moving. Cool. And you're like, this is awesome for you.
But that's not every sport. Like, not anybody can just like try soccer for a year and be decent.
No. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that is a plus with jiu-jitsu though, because you can, like, in your first class, you could catch like a Kimura or like a guillotine maybe, or Americana. Mm-hmm. But there are other things where you can go like a long time without any success. Mm-hmm. At least in jiu-jitsu, you can kind of get some successes early.
Yeah, definitely. I also think it's interesting how, like, it eventually levels out. Like, I'm even noticing, I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone's still kicking my ass, but it's like we're all showing up and learning together and starting to like merge. So it's like, when I started rolling with like Yara and all these girls who are now black belts, it was like such a gap. And don't get me wrong, there's still a gap, but it's like slowly it's
Yeah.
leveling out.
Yeah,
and that's kind of cool.
it's like you have to try harder to beat me.
Yes. Yeah,
You
I'm
didn't
challenging
beat me.
you.
You did really, really well, but you didn't quite submit
Yeah.
me, so that's a win. And yeah, the gap gets smaller, and then you have a blast, and then sometimes the gap gets wider because that person
Yeah.
was working on something too, and then they're like, hey,
Right.
let me show you something.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's community, and the challenge is really what
Definitely.
keeps you driven.
So now you're a purple belt,
I'm purple belt.
and it sounds like you're not going anywhere. You're gonna.
Nah, I'm really enjoying
continue.
myself. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you competed?
only once.
Only once.
Only
At what
once.
belt?
White.
Oh, nice.
No
Well,
gi, white.
What'd you think?
I didn't love it.
Okay.
A lot of just emotion and adrenaline kind of stuff.
Yes, it really is.
I also don't like sitting around waiting. You don't have a place to sit.
Yeah.
You can't stretch your legs out. I didn't love that, but I did want to do it. I'll probably do it again at some point.
What was the what'd you do? Naga or?
No, what's the one? I think it's
Grappling?
Grappling Industries. Yeah.
I actually like grappling industries better than Naga because for the money, well, I don't know when you did it, but when I've done it, it's like you get round robin, so you actually get like a couple
Yeah, I
tries.
think on that one I did 4 matches.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That was pretty good.
How
right?
did you do?
I came in second.
Nice.
Yeah, I
That's
lost
awesome.
to a teammate.
That's so awkward.
My guy Adam. We kind of started together, so we were all like new, like, cause like, see, I think it's like Sean, Kelly, Adam, Justin, myself. We were kind of like a class of jiu-jitsu,
That's
right?
cool.
Like, we're all still training, we're all doing well, but yeah. So me and Adam, we went in the finals or whatever. He beat me with a
That's
heel
really
hook
cool,
or
though.
something. But yeah, it was cool. It was
Yeah.
fun. The thing about jiu-jitsu is I got into it for like all those other reasons. I was watching the sport, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also thought about like how well could I handle myself if I had to handle myself?
Right.
And you
It's
think you're
surprising.
good, you think I'll say red. We all know the cliches.
Yep.
But then you realize like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Like I really wouldn't know what to do
Yeah.
if that guy put their arms around me, or if that guy squared up. I would have a chance. I'm athletic, I'm
Yes.
strong, I'm fast, but I don't really know what my goal would be.
Right.
And then it's like, shit, dude, you got to figure that out. So my jiu-jitsu is a little more like not sport like.
It's more like
It's more like, hey,
what
you're
will
out in the
really work in
street,
the
like
real world.
get on top of them, stay on top of them kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So the competition's like a little different because people
It
are
is.
rolling and
Yeah, they don't care.
yeah.
Which I mean, you're in a great place for that mindset because Rick, from what I've heard, does
yeah.
does
Yes,
quite a lot
yes.
of real life
Rick does-
situational.
Yeah, he
Street
does like
week
kill
and all
a
that.
motherfucker jiu-jitsu. Like
Yeah.
that's what his thing is.
I
right?
respect it though because not all like you're. I mean, it's like we've seen the memes, but it's like you're not gonna sit down.
Yeah, you're
and
not gonna
pull
start
guard.
scooting. You're not
You're
gonna
not gonna do any of that.
Imanari. You're not rolling back on your
Yeah,
neck.
can you
like,
imagine?
That's I mean, I think it's cool to do that stuff or to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And if you compete, that's cool. And
It's a different mindset.
But like, if I'm out there, like I'm 101, I'm gonna close distance. I'm gonna sweep your legs out, drag you down, get on top of you, control, and hopefully someone calls the police,
Helps,
or
yeah.
I tap you out, and then we figure it out from there.
Have you ever been in a
Had to use
situation?
it? No.
Good.
No,
I
I
mean,
didn't.
that's what you hope for.
Yeah. I'm pretty lucky. Knock on wood. People kind of leave me alone for the most part.
That's good.
But
It's the height.
it is. It's the height. That's all it is. And the menacing look.
And you said you have 2 daughters.
I have 2.
So I mean, I'm sure that also gives you some confidence. because
Yep.
You want to be able to protect them. And your
Yep,
wife,
that
of
was
course.
in there as well. So when I was second guessing my abilities to like hold my own, I was like, what if you were with your kids?
Yeah. What would you do?
And what could you really do? Like what was really
I was like, what are you doing?
my belly was exposed the whole time.
What kind of podcast do you think this is, Albert?
My belly's exposed. OnlyFans. Jesus Christ. I thank you for telling me, but that's gonna look so bad. That's gonna look because
Well, you're
I'm like
fixed
sitting
now.
off to the side and
fixed
like I was only for a second. Jesus
I saw
Christ.
it happen, and I was like,
That's good. That's gonna look so
Oh my
bad.
God, Albert. What do you think this is?
I don't know, man.
end of the potty.
Yeah, I got no shirt. Albert, could you put your shirt on? Maybe your
the
socks.
longer
do.
we talk, it's just getting higher and higher. I'm just sitting here like,
Yeah, I was all up here. I got my arm through the thing. I'm like, what? That'd be good. I didn't even know where I was. What the hell were we talking about?
we were literally talking about your daughters.
Oh yeah, I'm not defending my daughters. Like, yeah, your belly's hanging out. But I did. I thought about if I had to, if we were at this park and a crazy person came in this park,
Yeah, what would you do?
Could you really do anything?
Yep.
Like, what do you have to do? And if the dust settled and something bad happens, could you look at yourself and say, I did everything I could?
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe you did, but maybe you didn't know enough to be able to do enough, right?
Right.
And I don't want to feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't really feel that way now. I don't want to have to like physically like fuck with anybody, but
Right. But you know that
yeah, and I
push
think
came
that
to shove, literally.
yeah, and I think people would be like, I don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah.
Just the way he's standing makes me want to leave that guy alone. You know?
Yeah, isn't that interesting too? Like
Yeah.
what you don't know. So I almost feel like people are more cocky when they don't have training because you just assume, I could take him. But once you do jujitsu, you can like look at somebody and be like, because I do it now. Like
No,
I'll
all
be
the
on
time.
like a bus or something, and I'm like, well, I don't take a bus. I don't know why I said that. I'm not. I actually don't
That's
take
a
buses.
little below me, but
I'm
okay.
gonna be honest with you. I'm not a public transportation girl. I'm in an Uber.
I'm in
maybe.
Delaware. I got a yard that's huge over here, guys. I shot a deer. There's a deer back here. I don't take buses, but
I'm like, why am I lying? Anyway, I'm on an airplane.
yeah.
I'm in first class.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I wish, but I'll literally I'm on the Paco maybe.
Okay, there you go.
Going to Philly, that's happening.
Nice.
Okay, that's realistic. And like I'll be looking around. I'll be like, if I had to, I'll just be like thinking about it, and I can be honest with myself. I could be like, that would be fucking hard, even with no training on their part. If they're a certain size,
yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
a big,
oof.
that's a big, that's a big.
That'll be a
dude.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. So that's it's. I think everyone should know that, but you don't know.
Yes.
And I knew that I didn't know some shit, and I was like, I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I was just
Now
training.
you feel pretty confident.
I feel confident. I don't. Once again, I don't want to have to like do something to someone, but I feel like I could get out of it. I could get out of a lot of situations.
Yeah.
But like you said, we train over at Balance with Rick. Like he's teaching you to
He's
kill
not fucking
somebody.
around.
He's not really into like then roll over and get 3 points.
No.
He's like, you break this and then you step on this and
I
then
love that.
Yeah,
I want to get over there because of that. Like he posts all his stuff. I mean, I've had him on the podcast. He's
yeah.
hilarious. But I was telling Jeremy actually, I was like, we should do a street week because I do think there's a big difference, and I do think it's important to focus on realistic jujitsu as well.
And that's what I think there's a lot of value in a spazzy white belt.
I agree with you, and I say this
Yeah.
all the time. I've said this to my girls that come to
Yeah.
a women's class. I'm like, a spazzy white belt is the closest you'll get to fighting
Yeah.
someone on the street.
Yeah.
Literally, because that's how they react.
That herky jerky movement, and you want to get slow and drag them down, and
Yep.
they're like, "Yeah, I'm moving."
Yep.
And on the street, they could have some PCP
That
in
is
them
what-
while doing
yes.
the same thing, and it's like, okay, now you good? Like,
Yeah.
So I think spazzy white
That's a good
there
point.
is like for trying to learn how to do things. Spazzy white belt is good, and
Yep.
we do street week like you had mentioned, and we
Mm-hmm.
have fighters in our gym, and sometimes the hands start
Scrappy.
going. Safely, obviously, but it's just a reminder that like, hey, this is a weapon. You're on the
Yes.
ground. Someone's head is a weapon. Elbows are all over the place.
Yep.
And you're doing jujitsu, looking for such and such guard, and there's an elbow coming.
Yeah,
You're
you're
like,
not
oh,
going to do shit.
this
You're
is
knocked
not-
out.
Yeah, I'm not ready for this. Yeah, so
It's very true. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we all complain about the spazzy white belt because we get into a rhythm, right? Like we start, it becomes choreographed, and it's like if I do this, they're gonna do this
Yeah.
or this. There's only so many options, and then you do a white belt, and you're like looking to do something, and you're like, you're not giving me what I want.
yeah. Why
That's
is your
what's gonna-
foot? Why is your
yeah.
foot not up here where it's supposed to be?
Why did you just do a front flip
Yeah,
over
yeah,
my body?
exactly.
Like, and that's happened.
Yeah,
That is what you're gonna
Yeah,
get.
and they're not tapped. They don't know to tap. They don't know
Yep.
they're in danger. They don't,
Full send.
Yeah, and that's really more what you're going to see out in the world.
It
so,
really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Bring in the spazzy white
Come on,
belts.
yeah, bring them out.
So you competed once.
Yep.
It wasn't your favorite thing in the world. So
Yep.
now you're just kind of more like a hobbyist. and-
I guess hobbyist is the word. I do train consistently,
Yes.
at least four times a week.
Oh wow, yeah,
I think that's pretty good for 41 years old.
definitely.
And I do get better and work on getting better, but it's just not in a competition kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
I also think people use hobbyists almost as like a I was talking. Who was I talking to? This? Maybe Yara.
it does have a negative.
It
feel.
shouldn't be, right?
It hurt
Because
a
there's
little- it hurt a
also.
little bit.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if you're. I was like, I guess a hobby.
I know. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean
It's
it.
like, yeah, fuck.
Let me
I'm a hobby, yeah.
clarify. There's different levels of hobbyists. Like to me, you're a hobbyist if you're not trying to make it. I just mean it's your career or it's not. Is what I
Yeah.
mean. But there are levels, right? You have the hobbyist that shows up once a month, once a week, and then you have the hobbyist. Like I would consider myself a hobbyist, but I do compete. But
Right.
I'm not Amanda Levy, Amanda Mazza. Like I'm not
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I have a job. I have a full time job. Like I'm not trying. I'm aging out, but I think I'm a little bit above just going like once a week.
Yeah.
I want to be the absolute
Yeah.
best I can be. Sounds
Yeah.
like you're similar.
Well, you can't get upset with yourself if you didn't put in the work, right?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So you can't be like, oh, I wish I was a so-and-so
Yeah.
belt. Oh, how often are you training? Once every 2 weeks.
Right, well.
Keep on wishing, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's not going to work out for you. You know what I mean? So I did kind of give myself these goals when I got into it and what I wanted, and just keep on riding it out. I got 33% is good, 33% is bad, 33% is eh.
Yeah.
And just go. But yeah, I am a hobbyist. Damn it, I am a hobbyist. Yeah.
But just like we need white belts, we need hobbyists.
Hobbyist purple belts.
You know what I mean?
Hobbyist
But
purple belt dads.
also, just because you're not competing doesn't mean that you're not giving amazing rounds to the competitors. Like you can be at the same level.
Yeah, I'm giving.
Yeah.
I mean, when I go, if I'm going with someone who's fighting and they want to stand up, I'll give them a good stand up round. I'll
Exactly.
try my hardest to give. I mean, they're probably gonna get the better of me, but I'm gonna give them some work. I'm gonna,
Yeah.
if someone says, "Hey, I'm getting ready for something," try to take my back for the next 5 minutes. I'll go hard. I'll take.
Look at Phil and Rick. They're no longer competing, but
Yeah.
nobody looks at them like, oh, it's my
just a
rest
fucking
round.
hobby.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. No one's like, yeah, this is gonna be easy for me.
Yeah,
so
because
I'll
they're
talk to you
not
in 5 minutes.
competitors.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you could say they're a hobbyist. Don't
Yeah,
tell them I
yeah.
said that. Rick
They're gonna
calls me.
see- they're
What the
gonna
fuck? I'm no fucking hobbyist. But technically, like, they're not competing anymore. They're retired. They're semi-retired.
They're semi-retired. It probably. I think when your livelihood's based off it, though,
Yeah, it's your life.
You get at a hobby because they're like, what do you think they would do if they weren't doing jujitsu? What do
Right.
you think Rick would be doing if he wasn't teaching people jujitsu?
Did I ask them this when they were on the podcast? I feel like I might have, because they had jobs.
No, because Phil's answer was, I'd be boxing. And we're like,
Is that what it was? Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
and we're like, yeah, okay.
But they used to do something before jujitsu, weren't they? No, but I thought they had like
I think they
desk
just-
jobs now.
No, could you imagine Rick at a desk?
After I said that, I was like, I really can't.
Rick is librarian.
Rick just flips the desk.
Yeah. Rick's walking with his briefcase, puts it on the table. You're like,
You know what? Maybe I'm thinking of Drew and Joey, maybe like Fuel Hunt. I was like, somebody had a desk job. That's so funny. Okay, switching gears. So,
Switch 'em up.
So similarly, though, to doing something difficult, you're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Not that I've never tried it, but I can imagine that's really hard. Like you're putting yourself out there.
Yep.
There's bad days.
Yeah. There's rough days.
There's
yeah. There's
great
rough
days.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very similar, that 33% you're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
So you want your goal to be more like 80-20,
Yeah.
90-10.
But it's not always.
Bad things are going to happen, and you got to be ready to just know that it was a rough one today.
so how did you get into that?
Kind of like boredom, I think. I wanted to like create stuff and like do stuff and like, and I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, okay, you're getting older. Like,
This is pre-jujitsu?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you're not getting any younger. Time's passing. You're still not doing anything. And then I was like, well, what could you do? Me talking to me. I'm like, what could you do? And I'm like, well, you can't really act or anything. Can you? And then I was like, you could go tell a comedy. You could go make people laugh. Just get on stage. It's that easy. You
Yeah,
don't need any
crazy you
credentials.
felt. Were people always telling you like you're so funny or
No.
Really?
No.
So what made you think, oh, I could do this?
Because I thought I could. That's really it. I mean, I knew
Wow.
I could think of funny things, and
Yeah.
I am like a funny-ish type of person.
Yeah.
But one thing you will notice about most comedians is there's like performative funny,
Yes.
right? Like, well, thanks for coming out.
Yes.
And you start performing. And then there's like hanging out, talking funny. Most comedians aren't the funniest in the hanging out, talking part.
That is actually
Yeah,
interesting.
they're funny when they perform. They're usually kind of more on the quiet side. And they're kind of just watching. They're probably picking you apart, thinking of something that,
Internally.
Yeah. Going, oh, you ever notice when someone talks, they do, and you start thinking like that. But it wasn't like I was not the funniest guy.
Yeah, you weren't
going.
like the
I wasn't
loudest
like,
in
oh,
the
get
room.
Albert, he's hilarious. No, that was not the case.
Wow. See, I never thought about that because I'm sure there's exceptions. Like when I think of like Kevin Hart, I feel like he's probably
He's
like,
probably right. Like,
but he's also an animated funny.
yes,
More than like the story's funny. Like he can make anything funny because
the
of how
voice
he.
and that and the head movements and shit like
he's
that.
more
Yeah,
animated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
it's
like,
different.
I think there definitely are people who are funny all the time,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, most of us are kind of, it's a performance, you know what I mean? So we're like,
It's
we
a
put it
skill
together.
set at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's just as lonely as like, I should say this. It's like very similar in jiu-jitsu where if you fall in love with the journey, if you can really get behind that, there's a lot of fun stuff to be had.
Yeah.
If you get into it with an end goal in mind of like, this is a failure unless I get to that, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like just enjoy it every step of the way and keep showing up
Right.
and things will work out well for you.
So did you take a class?
Yeah.
This was all just, you were like, I'm going to
just
do
me,
it.
yeah.
And so like what was step one? Did you like Google how do I become
How do you
a
do it?
comedian?
Yeah. And it's like open mic, right? So open mic comedy is everywhere.
Yes.
Literally everywhere.
Yes.
Especially in the Philadelphia area right now. So you Google open mic comedy, then you realize that most of the stuff you find isn't up and running anymore.
Okay.
So you're like, how do I find an open mic?
Yeah.
So I went down to Helium,
Okay.
where they have a website and you can sign up.
Yep.
And while I was there, the other comics were like, hey, they do this other places.
Right. Yeah. When it's just like jujitsu, you start making
Yeah, you start,
connections.
so I can go there, I can go, oh, so that's Tuesday night, that's Thursday night, that kind of deal. And then this was a very professional set. And
Yes.
every once in a while we get
it's like we have this like rando behind the curtain. Like,
just
what is he
making-
doing?
throwing shit at the wall, just making that.
Or he's made it better.
Yeah, he's like clipping his nails back there and shit, eating celery.
He's juggling.
Yeah.
We're like, what's happening? Don't mind the man behind the curtain.
Yeah,
It's
and
Sean.
you know what happens? I forget what the hell was I talking about.
You were saying your first experience. So I was actually going to ask you. So you were saying you Googled
Oh, yeah.
helium. Do you remember your very first time on stage?
I do. I remember being very, very nervous.
I bet.
I remember just reminding myself, like, hey, this is what you wanted.
Yes.
You wanted to get, and this is the first step at getting what you want.
Yep.
It's probably not going to go well.
Right.
Embrace it because it's going to go up from here.
And did you read from anything or was it
no,
all
I
memorized?
remembered it. I only needed to prepare like 4 minutes worth of stuff.
So couple different topics you came up with. And boom.
But even then, when you start, you think 4 minutes is a breeze, and then
Oh,
you
I
say
feel like that's
three
probably
things, and then
long.
they're like, okay, you got 3.5 minutes
You're
left.
like,
You're like, fuck. Now you can get off stage. Any comics listening, you can't just get the fuck off the stage. You don't have to stay on there for
okay.
3. But people usually try to stay and get
Yeah.
their time. And I got one laugh.
Nice.
One laugh, and I
Very
was like,
nice.
"Hey, I'm kind of good at this."
Right. That's all it takes to keep
I
going.
wonder what would happen if sometimes I wonder what would happen if I didn't get that laugh.
Aw.
But-
Shout out to the person who laughed.
I know that person's name actually too.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Because I remember.
Because
he
you're like, because
he
it was
a
my
comedian.
mom.
He was a comedian. Because I paid him $30. That fucking shit wasn't cheap. I had Venmo. I remember his Venmo handle. That's what I know. Because I know him because he's another comedian, and I got
cool.
one laugh, and I was like, okay, so this is a thing. I'm gonna do it again, and
Very cool.
then you start going different places, different mics, and then once you get good enough, people start asking you to do a show. Hey, you want to do a show?
That's so cool.
And then next thing you know, you're like, I'm a comedian now. Holy shit!
So what would you do? Really, just asking because I'm curious. Like, what would you do if no one? Have you ever had where nobody laughed?
Yeah, it happens.
What do you do? How do you handle
You
it?
probably kind of laugh at yourself.
Do you make a
and
joke out of it?
You can. It'd be like, oh, not a big hunting crowd, am I right?
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean. And then, but if you take it seriously and you're really, you probably should have other material that you can kind of veer off into,
to.
and you should have some jokes that you know are going to work.
That's true.
So you're like, oh, it's not going to work. Hit him with Old Faithful.
Yeah.
And then you get him back. You know, I think that's a lost skill.
Yeah.
I think that's there's a kind of like a generation in comedy where like upsetting people is kind of cool at times. Getting people to like walk, like get up and leave is kind of cool sometimes.
Oh yeah, like a reaction.
Yeah, and I don't think you're supposed to make people laugh. You're supposed to make people
that's why
entertain.
we're here.
People paid money. Like you're supposed to entertain them.
Yeah.
So I don't think, but yeah, that's kind of what happens when you bomb. You just figure it the fuck out.
Were you married when you were doing this?
No, I think like maybe 2 months after I started, I'd met my wife, but she was just.
I was just curious,
I knew.
like when you said to her, like, I think I'm gonna be a comedian. Was she like?
No. She had come into me going, I'm gonna be a comedian.
Okay.
You know, one of the things I said to her was like, just so you know, I'm into comedy. I'm gonna really try really hard at that. Are you cool with that? And she was like, yeah, that's cool.
Oh yeah. Who wouldn't? I'd be
Who
like,
wouldn't,
sure.
right? Yeah.
So, do you try your material out on like family and friends first, or
No, I do not. No, but I do draw inspiration from them.
Oh.
But yeah, like there may be a conversation going on, like that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not like so Gabrielle, right? You
Right.
know, traffic in the main line is something else. Am I right? Yeah, I don't do
Your
that.
wife's like, okay,
Yeah.
please. She like turns up the radio.
Yeah, exactly. I don't do that. I don't do that.
Yeah.
She how does she sees my material when she comes to shows.
That's cool.
So
Do
she
you
does-
get more nervous with like family being in the audience or no?
Sometimes, yeah.
I feel like if I knew people, it would make me more nervous than if it was just strangers.
Well, I curse a lot.
Okay.
Not as much as I used to, but I curse, and I talk about like grown up things.
Yeah.
Sex always comes up at
Yeah.
least once. But when someone like knows you and they know you
Yeah,
as
it's, like,
someone
weird.
else,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Hey, A lot of people don't know I'm a comedian. A lot of people they don't even know I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Hey, I found out you're a comedian. I saw a flyer. I saw something on
You're like,
Instagram. I'm gonna
"Oh."
come see you." And you're like, "Okay." I mean,
Just
you're
be
a grown up.
prepared.
You're a grown up. What I say is, I go, "Who's your favorite comedian?"
Yeah.
And if they say like Eddie Murphy, I'm like, come on, you're gonna love it. You know, they say Dave Chappelle. If they're like, oh, I really like Jeff Foxworthy, I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
you're like,
I'm like,
maybe
okay,
don't
well,
go.
all right, it'll be an experience. You know what I mean? You'll get it. And yeah, no, but it is different when the family's there, or people you know, because they know you as like,
That's really cool though.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun.
So you pull experience. So is it like you take like a situation sometimes and you embellish?
Yes,
That's cool.
I take in a situation that may have really happened, find the humor in it, and then present it to you
Yeah.
as a thing.
It really is an art.
It's
Like, when you think about it.
I think of some of the most messed up things that could ever happen to me, and try to find. Some of it's all fabricated, right? But I just try to like, something with my kid. Like I may make a joke about my kids that probably has never happened.
Yeah.
But I may have been in my car thinking like, wouldn't it be crazy if
Right.
they did this? How would I react if we were at school and this happened? And then it becomes a joke.
Right.
So it's kind of stuff is all over the place.
Does it ever make you look at life differently because it's like maybe something happens that you would normally get upset and you're like, well, it'll make for a good story to tell.
Yes, that is a really good question.
Yeah.
And yes, it does. Sometimes, so with me, what happens is I get writer's block, which is a good thing because usually at the other side of writer's block
Is
is some
something
great material. So you just have to deal with it, right? So back to the percentages, right? You got to deal with it. And then when it starts flowing, it's like, oh man, here we go.
Yep.
And then this creativity just like
Yeah.
spikes, and you get all this stuff, and then it comes back down, and then it goes. That's how it works for me.
Yeah.
So you just keep on pulling what you can pull and enjoying what you can enjoy while you can enjoy it, and then know it's going to dry up.
Yep.
And then you're going to live a little bit. More creativity is going to come out.
Yeah.
You're going to rock it, and then it's going to dry up a little more. And
So do you write everything down like when you have an idea?
Yeah, I write it down. Phone if I'm out and about, but I do like scribing.
Yeah.
I like pen, good paper.
Yep.
Usually a good pen or pencil. I do even write pencil, but I like when I can like hear like the pen like
Yes.
writing, and when you write it, it sticks better.
Yeah, like you process it differently,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. I'm very big on the book I'm writing in. Like,
That's
it's got to
cool,
be
though.
like a certain caliber of like paper, and
Yeah.
it's kind of weird, but
When I lived in Nebraska, let that settle in.
nice.
Me and my friend went to an open mic and it was for new comedians. And some of them were just done taking like a class.
It was probably so fucking bad.
Oh my
It was probably
God.
so bad.
It was an experience. And mind you, like we went in with the correct mindset. Like we knew this wasn't going to be like an
Yeah, okay.
amazing show.
That's really good.
Yeah, we
That's
knew.
really
We
good that
knew.
you knew what you're walking
It
into.
was like a Thursday night and we were like, we have nothing else
yeah, it's
to
like
do.
Quizzo and comedy.
We're gonna
going
drink
on.
until
Yeah.
it's funny anyway. There was
Right.
hecklers in the crowd, which is
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sure.
I was gonna ask you, like, imagine having a heckler when it's like your first. Did that ever happen to you?
Flat out heckled, no, but people will be talking at the wrong times and stuff. Most clubs are really good at just being like, yo, you got to chill with that. But it is becoming a thing because everybody wants to
Yeah.
be part of the show. Everybody wants to be,
Yep.
wants you to post them as their crowd work on
Yes.
Instagram. They want to be, that was me. He's talking
Yeah.
about me. So it's getting more, but because it's becoming more, I think security and clubs are doing a better job at keeping that down. Some people want it though.
I was gonna say, do you like doing crowd work?
No,
Not
No.
not your thing.
I don't like doing crowd work. I don't like picking on people.
Yeah.
I feel like crowd work. There's
a little
just a lot of
awkward.
picking up. Not pick. You're having fun with them, but for me, I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't do a lot of crowd work.
Some comedians are only like I would say Matt Rife.
Yeah.
I think he's better at crowd work. I actually don't think his
Than his-
actual comedy is funny.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think crowd work doesn't excite me all that much. I'm gonna keep it real with you, but
Yeah.
but it is a skill. There's people who are good at it, and there's people who suck
Gotta be
at it.
quick.
I think he is better at the crowd work. I think his other stuff is.
Yeah, like he's clever enough to have like a quick comeback.
Yeah.
But I feel like the stuff he sits down takes the time to write because I took the time to watch his special and I was like, God, this is not funny. I laugh easily.
Yeah,
And I was like, this is
you
not
didn't get
fucking
you.
funny.
You didn't get me, big fella.
Yeah, it was just it was a miss.
Yeah, I think he'll probably end up just like going all in on like movies.
I could see him doing more.
I could see him doing
more
that.
of
I mean, he's a
yeah.
good looking dude. He's in good shape. He's extremely popular.
Yeah.
He'd take a handful of acting classes. He started hitting cameos. Before you know it, he'll have a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think he's had to have made $100 million in 3-4 years.
Yeah, amazing how popular he got from just like posting clips of him
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
crowd work.
So yeah.
But yeah, so we went to the show and everybody was like new. So it was either like just an open mic, they just showed up out of nowhere, or they like took a class.
Yeah, the class.
And it was like their first experience. And like, yes, it was, there was like, actually, there was one person. Do you guys know, I'm going to forget his name, but when we were younger, there was like Vine, you remember Vine and all that?
Yeah.
And like even before that, like YouTube, there was a kid that always had like a squeaky voice, like a helium voice, and he would do like vines. I can't remember his name right now. But anyway, growing up, that was like somebody I saw all the time on like YouTube and Vine. And his little brother was doing stand up. And
how'd it go?
he actually was the only one that I think did
Kind of
okay.
Kind of okay.
And I could see why. But everyone else bombed. And then there was an old drunk lady heckling who ended up somehow making it on stage. It was a disaster.
She was like, yeah.
But I had empathy because I was like watching and I was sitting with my friend Gabby and I was like, I don't know if I could do that. Like that is so scary to bomb like that.
Open mic comedy is an extremely depressing endeavor.
Oh my God.
It's fucking sad.
It is so scary.
It's sad. And people used to like, my wife used to go to open mics with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like I get like this guy's talking about, you don't have to do it. I get it. You love it. Thank you. So you don't have to show up here anymore. This is like, wow.
You're
you know
like,
what I
I
mean?
have to go through this.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't have to go through
Yeah,
this.
it's tough, and every comedian's doing them because you got to get your material up,
you
you
gotta.
got to work them, and you know it's just practice. But they are very sometimes tough.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting about an open mic is like, let's say you went to an open mic and there was a lot of good comedians there.
Yeah.
If we're trying out new stuff that we don't know if it works or not, you could be like, yo, Albert Davis is not funny at all.
Right.
He did some skydiving bit. It was shit. It was
Yeah.
But I could have wrote that in the car ride there, and I'm trying something new.
Yep.
And then you're like, yeah, that guy's not funny. And you just saw me like throwing something up in the air.
Interesting. Connecting that to jujitsu.
Okay, all right, I like that. Segues.
You know where I'm going with this? You could do the same. You could say the same about somebody who's practicing something new in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I could come in that day and say, I really want to work on this knee bar that I've never done in my life, and I'm going to only go for that.
Yep.
And it could be your first time rolling with me, and you're like, she fucking sucks. She
sucks.
let
I
me
took her
pass
back
her
40
guard.
times,
Yeah. And, that'd
Yeah.
be more realistic.
Yeah,
I took her back, and it's like, I don't even care you're taking my back.
I'm rolling knee bars over here. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not.
So that's the connection I want to
Yeah.
make. Is it you just don't know what someone's
You don't know what someone's working on, what they're going through, what's happening, and I think jiu-jitsu, that's a great.
analogy.
I like how you finished that sentence for me because
Sorry.
could you tell I was struggling with it? I was like analog, analyzation.
Started talking about clocks.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, what?
Analogy. And that is a good. It is a good analogy because when you are working on things, especially like the not fun things.
Yeah.
I'm working on guard retention. Fuck, that's gonna
Yeah,
suck. That's gonna
yeah.
be a shitty day for you. When you have to work on guard retention, you're gonna get passed. You're gonna get smashed, and you're gonna
Yep.
have to just find yourself there and do it again.
Yep.
When you're working on cool things, Peruvian necktie day, I'm just working on
Yeah.
that. That's fun, right?
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
you know. But when you're working on on the tough stuff, it hurts. It's just, and that's
Yes.
open mic, same way.
And you have to put your ego
You
aside.
have to put your ego aside. You have to like embrace the suck.
It's really hard.
It's gonna suck, and then we'll get past it.
Yeah.
You know?
So the closest thing I can relate to you is fun fact. Sean doesn't know this about me. So in college, he's like, what? In college, I did spoken word.
Oh shit!
So I did poetry slams.
Yeah.
And I was really good.
Yeah.
Like, I was winning.
Nice.
And but here's where the connection. I was killing it at Rowan. A very diverse group of people. I was doing certain bits. Well, it's not like bits, but I was writing.
Like,
I was writing for a certain crowd.
yeah.
And I was killing it.
Murdering.
And then one
murdering
night,
at Rowan.
murdering it at Rowan. I won like $100 to the tanning salon. I was like, whoa.
Oh shit! Here we go.
I was like, I'm fucking killing it. And so, like maybe 2 years after college, I was like, I want to get into it again. So I called up some friends from Rowan, and they were like, all right, we're gonna go to Philly. Well, this time we ended up in like a hipster bar, but I didn't know that. And so all of my like very, I don't know, urbanish jokes were not fucking hitting. Nobody was laughing.
Hipsters are a tough crowd.
Very tough crowd.
Hipsters, you guys are tough.
They
Hipsters are
were
a tough
tough.
crowd. They're a very tough crowd.
Yep.
There's like this social I don't want to use the W word because everyone's done hearing that word, but yeah, there is a wokeness that
Wow.
What'd you think the W was, women?
White.
I will use white, no problem.
I mouthed white to Sean, and then you said woke. I was like, oh, never mind. Never mind.
I didn't want to say woke because people are done hearing that word. Aren't we?
Well, when I
done
think of
hearing
hipsters, like kind of think of.
But yeah, so there's like we'll double down. We'll go
Okay,
white
okay.
wokeness,
The white
on
woke
it, where they're kind of like, I
women.
don't want to laugh at that because even though I think it's good and funny, it may be hurting someone else.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like,
don't want to
well,
do that.
shit.
And it's like, well, come on, it's a fucking joke.
And anything could hurt anyone. Then you
Anyone can
can't
hurt
make any
anyone's
joke
feelings,
because it's like
Yeah,
you're hurting somebody.
it's a tough crowd.
Yes.
There really is a tough crowd. They don't want to be seen as laughing at other people.
Yes.
So I don't know what your poetry material was and how it was, but if they felt like
I can remember it was about that specific day. It was about randomly because remember this was like 2015. I brought in Charlie Sheen into it was poetry, right? Technically. And it was like kind of like playing light on like drug usage and things like that. And once again,
you just
the man
silence
behind the curtain. Oh, no, it's you. Yeah, so it was like playing light on like it was actually like partly serious. Like I was like being serious, but I had like a couple little things to lighten the mood in there.
yeah.
And where people, because I had done this like 4 or 5 times, and people always laughed at like the same spots. Crickets.
Yeah.
And honestly, I regret letting it deter me, but it kind of deterred me, and I really haven't gotten back into it since because I just kind of was like, well, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah, you were just a victim of Kevin of a messed up crowd. You were a victim. You were the hipsters got you. Yeah, you probably should. You can still go do it again if you want.
It's one of those things I like do on my own time, but I've never like performed. But it is a goal. Like I in the back of my head, I'm like, one more time, I will do it.
Yeah, just have fun with it, right?
Yeah.
Performing is not that easy.
It's scary.
It's scary. It's tough.
Yeah.
They say most people are afraid of talking in front of large audiences and stuff.
Yeah.
So then you're over there performing in front of them.
Yeah.
It is a big deal.
And that's why I have respect for comedians because at least my material is literally I'm holding it. Like, some memorize.
Yeah.
I'm not a memorization girl, so I always had it. And I would know like some, but then I would like look down. And my goal, I'm not a comedian, so it doesn't really matter if they laugh. I just need them to clap, really, right?
Yeah.
Like it could be. Or
is it the snap you want?
Yeah, well,
that
day it was.
I'll take anything. I'll take a mouse.
Was.
I'll take a mouse chirping if I can get it on this day. Jesus.
There's a lot of snapping. Maybe some booing. No, they didn't boo me, thank God. But it was just not the reaction I was looking for. But with comedians, it's like your specific goal. The only emotion you're trying to have is laughter. Which for me, like if they're moved emotionally, that's a win too. You gotta make them specifically laugh. It's hard.
That's true, but I do like to bring real life stuff into it.
Like you try to make your crowd
try to make light of something that they think is going to make them feel really tight.
Okay.
Right. So Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, give me an example.
Right. But if you say that and everyone automatically is like, oh
here we go.
Yeah. Fuck. And I think that a good joke writer and what I try to do is like find the humor in that that makes everyone kind of like relax and chuckle. I'd like that.
Yeah.
It's not that easy to do. But I like something that is kind of real life and it's like going to make you maybe ask some questions later or at that time, but it still makes you laugh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's fun for me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Who was it? Dave Chappelle who just had one like that?
Probably.
On Netflix. Somebody I was watching and almost the entire thing was like controversial, but they were finding.
That sounds like something Dave Chappelle would do.
You're like that's everything he does.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it because I do feel like right now we're in a time where everybody's uptight, so it's nice to get people to loosen
and everyone
up
does have to laugh. Comedians have become these things that like people are turned to for more than laughter, which is a weird thing.
Yeah.
Because we're really there just to make you laugh. And,
that's a good point.
But that's how it goes. That's how it goes. All right. That's how it is.
Yeah. It's almost like we look to comedians also like we expect them to talk about like current events. Like
there's almost and rely on them to point the fingers back at the people who need it
and to have an opinion on it.
And then they say something kind of fucked up or wrong, and then it's like, oh, he's a horrible. It's like he's still just a comedian.
Yeah.
Why are we turning to the comedians for all this saviorism? Like, we're not the saviors. We're just the entertainers.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we get looped in with it. Whatever.
Yeah, and then to your point, it's like then you get the people that they put limits on what's funny. Like it's like interesting how they're like, well, it's okay for you to say that, but not.
Yeah,
it's like, well, if you can laugh at that.
Yeah,
that could offend other people. Then how could you say this is like where you draw the line? You know?
And when you're a comedian, if you pick on something, most people think you don't like it.
That's true.
Which is not true. Yeah. Most people you pick on the things that you know and you do like.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it's still a performance.
Yes.
You're just looking at the writer, producer, director, lead role, secondary role. It's all one person.
Yeah.
So sometimes, it's like a WWE character. Stone Cold doesn't really act like that. Maybe,
Yes.
well, maybe he does, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like Triple H or whatever. I'm just throwing
Yeah.
out wrestlers I know. They don't really act like that. They're doing a thing.
Yeah.
It's the same way with comedians. We're doing a thing. Like, don't get so uptight.
Yes.
This is a thing. This is a performance. It's supposed to make you think and laugh.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And some topics I imagine are just easier to write material for. So it's
Some
regardless
write
of your
themselves.
opinion,
Yeah.
it's just easy to laugh
Right.
at it.
Yeah. Yeah, your favorite politician, whoever that person he or she may be, says something wrong or says something messed up.
Still funny.
It's still funny.
Yeah.
If I pick on it, doesn't mean I'm against it. It's
Yeah.
it's funny. So
And those are the worst types of people that are like, well, I'm not laughing at that because I disagree. It's like, oh, it's still fucking funny.
yeah.
Still, you can still laugh.
You can just let your hair down a little bit.
A
Don't take it all
little
so
bit.
seriously.
You know what I
That would be my take on it.
Yeah.
That's what I got for them.
Yeah. So how are you doing right now with stand up? You said you're getting close to maybe making it your full
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I think within a year I could be there.
Awesome.
Opportunities are presenting themselves and things are getting better and better.
Very
It is-
cool.
once it's very similar to the old jiu-jitsu. You just keep on showing up and trying.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, you're talking to this person, you're doing performing with this person, and you just kept on showing up and trying.
It's so cool.
And the days get tough, the days get long. You perform at night, that sucks.
Yeah, that is.
That sucks. So I would live in Philadelphia. I go to New York.
Oh.
I get done at 9:45,
Wow.
10 o'clock. Now I got to get back home. It would be nice if I could just go home, like 20-minute
Yeah.
car ride and go to bed. But I got a long ride. But you just put that in. That's part of the journey I was talking about.
Definitely.
Learn to love that, and it's fun.
A lot more opportunities in New York, I assume.
Yeah, there's just more people, more audiences.
Yeah.
Like Philadelphia only has like 3 comedy clubs.
Yeah.
New York's got way more than that.
And I'm sure it was good in the beginning, but now you're kind of
Yeah, you gotta get that's you gotta get good enough to leave your city and still do well,
Yeah.
and then your city will have you back.
Right.
That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So you got to show everyone in Philly that the rest of the world feels this way
Is
about you and you're good,
interested,
and then Philly's gonna bring you back, and
Yeah.
then you go back and then you go out again.
How often are you performing?
Oh, weekly. I'm all the time.
About once a week? would you
Once a
say?
week, yeah.
That's
a few times a week.
Very consistent.
Like this week, I think I have 3 shows.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
All in New York, or?
no. Let's see. One's in New York. No, I have way more than 3 shows, but
You have 5 shows.
yeah, I have a weekend in Philadelphia, one in New York, and I have something somewhere else.
You have one
Oh, in Philly. I have,
on Wednesday.
yeah, I have my show in Philly.
Very
Then
cool.
I have New York, and then I have Philadelphia, or back in Philadelphia for an entire weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, you end up working a lot.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
like
it
now
was.
you're getting paid because it's not like in the beginning with the open mics. That's all just
Oh no,
donating your time.
You're just hoping that
Yeah.
you can get good enough at this that someone will pay you a very small amount of money, but some money. That's it. So a lot of it is volunteer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then besides that, you have a podcast.
I do. It's called Seriously Dad. It's about being a parent because I have 2 daughters. I host that with Jay Yoder. He's another comedian from like the suburbs area. He's got 2 daughters, and we were doing what we do. We were going to open mics and shows and this and that. And every time we're in the car, we end up talking about our kids.
Right.
And we're like, you want to just start a podcast where we talk about parenting? And he was like, yeah. And so there you
How
go.
often do you do that?
Weekly.
You get together or
Yep,
virtually?
we do that up in Philadelphia at Drop Tent Studios. And we just have different comedians on, some women, some men, not all parents, not all dads.
Yeah.
But it's just like a family related thing.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Because we both talk about our kids in our acts. And all comedians who have kids, we talk about our kids.
Yeah.
It's usually something goofy, something. But there is a very, very real side that we have to raising children.
Of course.
And it's good to share that with the world. You know what I mean? Your favorite comedian may look one way on TV, on the screen or whatever, but he looks differently when he's talking about his kids. And that's cool to see.
Yeah. How has that been doing?
It's all right. Podcasts are tough. I'm sure you know something about that.
Just a little.
Yeah, let me mansplain podcasts to you real quick. Now, the problem here is, it's tough, but it is also just a creative outlet. You get some clips out of it. You
Yep.
get to meet other comedians. You give comedians an opportunity to tell their story. There is a level of the game where you start working to like work with people, right? So you do something, not just to, but one of the perks is I got to work with so-and-so on my podcast.
Yes.
And then they had me on their show or
Yeah,
their podcast.
definitely.
And now we're friends, you know what I mean? And that's
Oh, yeah.
part of the building.
You build the
Yeah.
relationships. Yep.
Yeah, just like our jiu-jitsu communities, you know what I
Definitely.
mean? And then you need that network. It's a very hard gig without a network.
Yeah. I always say like if I wasn't in jujitsu, being able to meet people, like I wouldn't be able to do this. Like the
Yeah.
only reason I get guests on the show is because I make relationships, or it's like this situation. It's like I know somebody who knows somebody, but
know people. Yeah.
You know what
You're
I
out here
mean?
knowing people.
You know what
now.
I mean?
That's a good thing.
But also like the podcasting world, I feel like it can be whatever you want it to be. Like it can be something that, again, like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You could be a hobbyist podcaster and you can not give a shit about who's listening and you're just doing it because you enjoy it.
Yep.
Or you could be like, no, I really want this to be successful, and you can care about what people want to hear.
Right. That's better. It's better to be that person.
Yes.
That's a better way to do it. But there are people, they just go out there
they
and
don't
go,
care.
oh, it's this Thursday. What do you want to talk about? Oh, Jennifer Aniston got married again.
Exactly.
And you're just like throwing
They
shit at the
enjoy
wall.
it.
Yeah.
I literally know people that do that, and that's fine if like they have other things going on and that is really their hobby. For me, like, yes, this is still a hobby. I have a full-time job, but I genuinely would like it to become a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. If you can get paid off of it to where it becomes
ideal,
something,
right?
that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
cool, especially like when it was just an idea, just something kind of
Yes.
brewing it, and then you were able to make money off it and like live off it or supplement some of your income off it. That's really cool.
Oh yeah, there's been like a couple sponsors. I've made like a little bit of money, and like even the smallest amount, you're like, that's free.
That's
freaking
awesome.
Cool.
That's for you. That's
Somebody
for you
wants
doing
to give me money like for this.
for this thing you created. People
right.
give you money for this thing you created.
Yes, which
Cool.
I didn't think would last more than a month. Like,
Right.
genuinely was like, fuck it. Why
Let's
not?
give it a shot. And now you're winning. You're doing really well, and people like it, and there's people are showing up.
Yeah, Sean's been here from the beginning. I had little lapel mics. You would have been sitting there holding it.
Oh, holding it.
Not
That's
even
how you're doing it.
because clipping. The problem was clipping it. I couldn't hear because that distance was still
It was too much.
So here I
So
am.
we're all holding it.
Joe Piper, imagine, to this day, he's like, how come I didn't get the good mics? I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. So he's like holding it. But the thing is, like, and I've had friends be like, oh, I would have went out and bought all the best stuff. To each their own. I don't know. Maybe it's a weird thing about me. I felt like I had to earn the upgrade. Like I felt like
That's fair.
Until I know I'm sticking with it, I'm not. Whether I can afford it or not, I just didn't want to go out and like go.
It's like when you don't buy the good gi until you get
Yes,
to move out.
exactly.
You're like,
and I did. I started with the hand-me-down
yeah,
Kings.
yeah. You're like,
And then
this
I
piece of
upgraded.
shit. Now I
Yep.
got this Ruka fucking $300 gi
Exactly.
on. Yeah,
It took me like almost 2 years. No, almost over 2 years to buy myself a brand new expensive
nice,
gi.
yeah.
And I felt like I earned it.
You earned it. Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I think most people do something like that.
Yeah.
And,
Not all. There's some podcasters I know that, no shade. Well, I'm sorry. It is what it is. They buy all the most expensive shit, but the content sucks. And it's like, you have the nicest mic, the nicest camera, but like
It's not
the
working.
content
It ain't
sucks. It's
working.
like, no one cares that you have $1,000 camera if we don't want to listen to what you're saying.
It's not working. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's like same with the gis and the rash guards and stuff.
yeah, you buy the most
I'm a
expensive.
Sanibel guy.
Okay.
$20,
Okay.
20 and 20.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very. Some people are way above that when it comes to their drip, but you still got to go out there and do it. You still got to
Hell
go out
yeah.
there and roll.
If
yeah,
you suck, I don't care what
yeah, I
you're
don't care
wearing.
what your rash guard
Yeah,
looks like.
it
Who gives a
doesn't-
shit? Yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's golfers do that. Golf's an expensive sport, and I love golf. You
Yeah.
get people like, hey, I started last week, and you're like, dude, you're $4,000 in.
Right.
You haven't done anything.
It's so true.
Yeah, I actually like that because when they quit, I try to get that equipment from them. But yeah,
That's funny.
you went in way too. It's like me with the bike.
Yes.
I got this bike
Yep.
sitting, like
It's
carbon
me with
carbon
the
fiber bike.
Yeah,
sitting
I'm
in
a
the
hypocrite.
basement.
I did buy the cookie shit.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I got that carbon fiber bike still sitting there.
God
It's a nice
damn
looking
it.
bike. Hasn't moved. So
It's very true. That's so funny. Okay, so you mentioned before we started recording that you have a little wrestling background. Let's talk about that.
Well, I want to say background.
Okay.
I lived in a place where wrestling was king.
Okay.
So I saw a lot of wrestling.
Oh, did you
So-
wrestle yourself?
No, my mom wouldn't let me.
Oh,
My
I
mom
misunderstood.
wouldn't No, so when I was in fourth grade, we had moved to this place in northeastern Pennsylvania. I was like, I want to wrestle. And she's like, I think you're going to get hurt. No.
Yeah, well.
So I didn't get to wrestle. But I say all that because I understood the power of grappling at a very young age.
Yeah.
I knew that the grapplers were good in a combat situation. I saw fist fights in the schoolyard. I saw the wrestling matches. I saw them training while we had basketball practice. They were running with plates over their head. And I knew like, oh, that's some serious shit.
Yeah.
That is some real shit. And then I remember being in gyms where there'd be thousands of people. There's 6 matches going, and kids are crying, moms are crying. It's fucking crazy. But I knew that
You were
grappling
exposed to it,
yeah.
yeah.
I knew that when you grabbed someone and got tight with them, it was a problem at a very young
Yeah.
age.
So what sport did you play?
Basketball.
Yeah, your mom was smart.
Yeah, she was
"You
like,
know
go play
what?"
basketball.
She's like,
You
you'll be
can-
all right.
Yeah, you'll
Unless
be
they
okay.
shove you down. But you were tall.
Yeah, that's what I have
So
going
you
for me.
were
I was
okay.
tall. I mean, I remember watching the wrestlers were running with 45-pound plates like above their head,
Yeah.
sprinting down the hallway.
Yeah.
And we're like shooting free throws. we're like talking on the free throw line, shooting free throws. And I'm like, these aren't the same at all. This is, but you know, the wrestlers are historically kind of crazy, and because they're doing a lot of that shit alone, you know, and they're good.
They
They're
are
good.
good. It's funny how life's full circle. First time I was exposed, it's so funny. When I was probably in middle school, my neighbor across the street needed a babysitter.
Okay.
And she had 2 sons and a daughter, and they were in elementary school, and the sons were like state champion wrestlers.
Nice.
And they had big mats down the basement. I'll never forget it. I didn't know shit about wrestling. I have 2 sisters. So that was not, my parents to this day don't know shit about it. And all I remember is going over there and just trying to do my job and getting fucked up by these little fucks.
Really?
Yes, they would
Nice.
put me like I would be like a goddamn pretzel.
Nice.
Like I'm the babysitter, and I'm like just
you're
being
in a spladle. You're
I'm
like, you can stop, please.
like actually though.
Yeah, and the brother's laughing at you.
Literally.
And, you're like, let
And
me
I'm trying
try.
to-
They're grabbing you.
And I'm trying to be the fun babysitter. Like, you know, they'd be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Alysa,
Yeah.
can we wrestle with you?" Oh, I'm like they're little
Sure
kids.
thing. Yeah, no, they
Fuck
got
me
you.
up.
Yeah,
I would go home like, "Mom,
quit that
they
job.
fucked me up."
You got to make a workers' comp claim after that.
I'm like limping home. She's
Yeah,
like, "What
so-
happened?" I'm like, "We were playing." And like now I think back and I'm like, it's funny how I had like zero interest. Like I never even asked them to like teach me anything. I was just like traumatized. And then somehow in my 30s, I was like, I should wrestle and do
Yeah.
jujitsu.
It is weird. It
Like
is weird to be all
so
get into
weird.
these things.
So
Yeah.
weird.
All right.
Any hot takes?
I don't. What is a hot
Okay,
take?
so
What
yeah,
is- what is
so
the
let me. Yeah,
definition?
I know that's kids call it that.
Okay,
we're,
the kids.
we're
Let's
Go
adults.
through your favorite phrases.
yeah.
Starting with white hipsters
Yeah.
being the worst. Okay, so it's basically an unpopular opinion that you have.
Oh, an unpopular opinion.
Yes.
About anything or just
Well,
jujitsu?
about
related?
jujitsu, but I mean, if you have a really good unpopular opinion, go for it.
Oh, I probably don't have a really good unpopular opinion from a jujitsu standpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a very interesting day of jujitsu today.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't bring that. I would just say an unpopular. I don't know. I think maybe this isn't unpopular, but I think this is. You should try to get training from different sources. My opinion.
like cross training.
Yeah. I don't know if that's unpopular or popular, but that is just how I've been feeling lately.
Yeah.
Because I've been training at Balance for a while. And I've been with Rick for most of it. And I love Rick, and the classes are great, and I learn a ton. But I do a lot of Rick shit.
Yeah, of course.
You know, not as good as Rick. I understand the internet. I understand. But then it's like, maybe I need to learn some Aldo shit.
Of course.
Maybe I need to learn some Big J shit. You know what I mean? I got to learn some other stuff, how other people do things. And that's a big deal for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like go out there and see what else is out there, how other people are doing things. I think it's a good test to see how good you really are and if your technique is good. And you're going to learn, you're going to get, your jiu-jitsu gets another dimension.
Definitely. Do you find like you have similar training partners all the time, and then they kind of know what you're about to do, and you know what
that's
they're
the
about to
thing.
do?
They're like, up front, you know, I do a lot of front headlock.
Yeah, they know your strengths.
They know. Oh, there goes Albert in front head. Now the guillotine's a threat. Now he's back to the anaconda. Now he's going for the darts. Then he goes to the bag. Then he's come more. Yeah, and they know that. And I know my guy Dom Costanza, love you, big fella. He's gonna snatch my legs up.
Yeah.
And then you start playing to not get my legs snatched up. But I'm not doing the other parts of the jiu-jitsu game.
Right.
So I think going to other gyms, cross training is the proper term apparently, is really a good thing to do. Dude, you felt that, right? I said, you mean cross training? Yeah, okay, my bad.
I was saying it more for the listeners.
Yeah. So I don't think that's a popular take. I think everyone probably feels that way.
Well, I would say what's unpopular is some coaches disagree with you because they don't want
the
their people.
coaches
They
disagree.
don't. Not all. I mean, really, not the ones we know. I think
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
all. Yeah, but there are certain gyms out there that don't believe that their students should go
but that's
elsewhere.
more of a financial decision. That's more of a
I
like
think
I
it's
can't afford to lose.
insecurity too. Like I think it's like, oh, I don't want them to see my holes, and I don't want to hear that they enjoy something that I don't teach them. I think it's an
Gotcha.
insecurity thing.
Gotcha.
You
I
know?
mean,
Or to your point, they might be like, actually, I like this coach better. I'm going to leave.
Right. I thought that's what it was. It was like, we can't afford to lose 15 people.
And it's
We
control.
got 15 people. We lost 15 people. So, I always thought it was a financial thing.
But some of these gyms I'm thinking of are pretty big and they could afford to lose people.
Yeah.
I think it's a control thing.
And like the holes in someone's game, if I'm a purple belt and I go, I'm not going to find out the holes in this 3rd degree black belt's game because I took a class over here.
You come back,
Yeah,
like,
like,
listen,
I'm
Rick,
going to start just tapping
found
this
your
guy out.
holes.
Yeah, I'm going to tap you 14 times now because now I know all your holes.
Yeah.
It's not really going to happen.
Yeah.
But I guess that is a thing. It's like people don't. No, that's a huge thing because I see like it's all over my Instagram. Mm-hmm. People kind of
some
claiming
people just feel
their
it's
students.
a disrespect thing. Like, you are our member. Why are you going elsewhere?
And that's weird because we're the customer.
I agree with you.
So I can't you can't give someone money for them to tell you where you can.
I agree.
It seems very backwards.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I've even heard they don't like it because then I don't agree with this, but you teach other gyms like their escapes or their submissions. And it's like, it's not a secret. Like there's the internet.
It's on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's I think that's an insecurity thing. I think like Sean said, the people you respect aren't going to be that way. You know what I mean? Like the purists, the ones who like really, they're not going to be like, oh, you train at this school. They're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And I've taken things from other schools and brought them to Rick and Phil and be like, hey, what do you think of this? And you're just getting a different look. It's not a negative thing at all.
And like I had Nick Salas on and he like, you could tell someone like Nick is confident because he was saying like, if my student comes to me and says like, I learned this at another gym, he's like, I'm excited. Like I can now ask him like, oh, what is it? Maybe I can work it into like what I'm teaching. But then someone the opposite who's insecure might like take offense to that. Like, oh, don't worry about that. That's stupid. And they immediately like shoot it down. Yeah. And that's when something's wrong.
Yeah. Well, I guess now that we're talking about it, I feel like I do see like posts online where it's like signs of a toxic whatever.
Yeah,
and that's usually
big.
something that is on there. Don't allow cross training. I just didn't know cross training was what I was talking about.
What else do you call it?
You on this topic that you clearly don't want to
Yeah.
That's fine.
Any other hot takes?
I think that's it for my hot takes. I don't know.
That's
Just
good.
keep on training, have fun, keep on training, learn some shit.
That in and of itself, though, the way you approach jiu-jitsu is sort of a hot take to some people.
The way
What?
I
How
approach-
so?
Because, like you said before, like you're like a 4-day-a-week hobbyist.
Mm-hmm.
But
Careful.
You
You fucking loser.
Fucking hobbyist.
I mean that. No, but in that, like, you and I, at least I know people that take this stuff way too seriously.
That's true.
And you are one of the people that I train with that is genuinely, I never question, you're there for a number of reasons, but all those reasons are centered around, like you're not coming if you're not having a good time. And you can have a good time even if, and you're like all of us, like you can have a good time even if you're not, like if you can spend a whole day getting beat up.
Yeah.
But you can still have a good time because you're learning. And you know,
Yeah.
it's like, so that is kind of a hot take to people sometimes. Some people just take it way too seriously, and you're not one of them.
So Sean's hot take is that you're not a
I need
douchebag.
to try harder. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I need to try harder. So what I want to let you know is when you show up, try harder, man. You really.
You're the exact opposite of all my
You're
success.
way too laid back.
I get what you're saying. Like don't want to tap kind of deal because their ego's too big and. Yeah.
Some people just really act like we're not just rolling around getting sweaty.
We're not doing, as Craig Jones puts it, adult karate. You know?
Yeah. Like they really are like, you need to like respect the sport. And it's like, we are just, we are just rolling around.
That stuff. I don't.
Yeah. We're just having fun. Like, yes, you take it seriously self-defense wise, but you're also like, it is a way to socialize and have fun.
You did learn a lot. Yeah, the samurai warrior thing that does get on my nerves a little bit.
Have you experienced that a lot?
No, but when people are like going to battle, going to war, I'm a
that's
this,
true.
if I do that, that's a little like you're selling it too hard, big fella.
Yeah. Oh, that brings me to a good question. Do you consider a jiu-jitsu match a fight?
No.
Why?
Intent.
Intensity?
Intent.
Oh, your intent. Okay.
Yeah, the two people.
Yeah.
A fight is you have to go someplace physically and mentally when you get into a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to say use the term kill or be killed, but like you don't know what this person's intent is, and you got to stay alive. It's a lot of difference from like I got my rash guard on, I got my spats, I'm good to go, I'm going to scoot.
tap.
You know the rules, I know the rules, I can tap. We kind of know each other anyway. It's not really bad blood. That's not the same as like give me your wallet, and now here you are standing with someone like that. So I think that I would not call that a fight just because the intent is very different.
What about like a UFC fight where it's not a street fight? There is an agreement.
I consider that a fight.
Yes.
Because that's using the elbows, the knees, the jiu-jitsu, the stand-up, the head kicks,
Yeah.
and spinning back. So I do consider that. I consider boxing match a fight.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think because I've thought about this a lot. I think where I draw the line, like what or like what the difference between a fight and a not a fight is, like when you can't tap before you get knocked out. I think that's a fight. Like you can't
Okay.
like incoming punch and be like tap.
All right, I'm good. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that one coming. I'm good.
Like obviously UFC fights can end with tapping, right?
Yeah.
We saw it last night with Sean Brady.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, you don't know that's how it's going to end. You don't
Yeah.
know you're not going to get punched in the face and knocked out.
Yeah.
So I do think that is the difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
I
I think
agree with
some people would disagree, which is fine. Come for me. I would love to hear the opinions.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think and you could still get hurt. Don't get me wrong. You can still get hurt in jiu-jitsu. We've seen ankles and knees and all this shit
Yeah.
snap. But majority of the time you can stop before it's painful.
Yes. Yep. And even before you start, hey, my neck's bothering me.
Yeah, like if it's not
just
a
be careful of it.
competition.
Hey, just so you know, the shoulder's rough. Like
Yes.
when shit is real, there's no, hey, the shoulder's rough. Let me put my mouth guard in, and now we'll
Yeah.
go. It's like so
like a
that
street
so the
fight.
intent is a lot different. That would be
Yeah.
my take on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other hot takes or any ideas you can come up with?
I don't think there's anything we.
I feel like we covered a lot. It's been
Can I
a while.
add this, and then you guys can figure out how you want to add it into the
Yeah.
podcast. But I think there is some value in, like, obviously, I think you'd feel the same way. One of my favorite parts about training jiu-jitsu is like, Albert and I tend to like me, Kelly, Albert, Cindy. We'll get coffee on Fridays after training,
Yeah.
and that's like one of my
Coffee
favorite
club.
parts of
Yeah.
the week. We have a Friday morning coffee club.
I'd heard.
Sometimes we have
I wanna
a Friday
come.
A
afternoon
lot of coffee, a lot of
Uh,
caffeine,
it's just a lot of-
a lot of caffeine abuse.
So what's your question?
But I
What's
think just like if you want to just quickly, I know we're wrapping up here, but like I think you are good at the whole community aspect of jiu-jitsu. I'll put it this way. Obviously, I work with WeDefy. We get veterans into jiu-jitsu because of the community aspect, and I think a lot of people think that we're looking to get them in a community with other veterans.
Mhm.
But I know you specifically have helped me with like crap that I'm dealing with. And we might not even talk about it, but like the fact that I have an Albert to like get a cup of
Yeah.
coffee with after, just shoot
Yeah.
shit, like there's something there with like jujitsu and like
Yeah.
that type of connection. I don't know. You could just say Albert's a really good.
No, I see what you're. It's like an outlet. You're saying.
Yeah, like even like the post jujitsu, like it's more. We're friends off the mat. We're here. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, we're like we're friends off the mat. So I don't know, you don't have to talk about this, but like.
He's spiraling. Hurry up. No, I see what you're saying.
Podcast content, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not a hot take, but I think you're saying that like jujitsu doesn't end when you leave the mats.
Yeah,
It's
and
yeah.
you know what I'm going off of? You have a lot of high-level competitors in here.
Yeah.
And while we have somebody who's not a high-level competitor, it's like he has just as much value to the sport.
Just to reiterate, a hobbyist.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
He barely
that
trains.
hobbyist
Yeah.
mentality. Yeah.
But I'm saying, basically going with like everybody contributes to what we're doing. You don't have to be a competitor. Like there's just as much value in being like a
Yeah.
good training partner and a good. And we kind of covered that already, but
Definitely. So yeah, like you're talking about like the socialization that's like outside of the mats.
Yeah.
And as I will even go as far as saying like specifically for men, because I feel like women have like there's actual studies shown that like women, you know, all we do is we talk to each other, we vent, and that's therapeutic for us outside of actual therapy. And it's shown that like most men don't have that. They don't
Oh,
talk
yeah, men don't
they don't
talk
talk about what's wrong in their lives. And I'm not saying you guys go out and specifically talk about what's wrong, but there is a different type of like friendship that I think is developed from beating the shit out of each other on the mats. That would you agree that you do feel like you can kind of talk to each other?
Yeah, I think when you get into, it's like when people fight and they hug and
Yeah,
pray together
yeah.
afterwards. Like you connect with someone when you're doing that. I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
the way it is. Like it's hard to exert that much energy trying to like hurt someone without like knocking down a few barriers along the way, whether you knew you knocked them down or not.
Yeah.
You know, and then you become friendly with somebody. You start to create a relationship and stuff like that. I think that is a big part of jiu-jitsu. I think that's the part of the growth of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I think there's probably not even generation, whatever. There's a group of people who need something and something else. They need an activity, but they also need a couple new buddies. They need a couple new accountability partners. They need a couple new rolling partners. They need
Yeah.
a couple new friends in general. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And yeah, so that it does check off two boxes
Yes.
as to what human beings need. So yeah, that
Definitely.
makes sense.
that's what I meant.
No, but I will add to that, and I've talked about this before. as much as I think that is important and necessary, I don't think it replaces actual professional help. Whereas I think there's a weird thing in jiu-jitsu, a lot of mostly men, I would say, just because there's a stigma. It's like, it's my therapy. It's my therapy. You've seen people write it, go to therapy. It's my therapy. It's like, there's nothing wrong with like using jujitsu as an escape or using jujitsu to like get through a dark time. But when you have real shit,
you need to go.
That's not actual therapy, guys.
You need to go to a therapist.
Like, yeah, you can have a hard day at work and be like, I'm going to jujitsu to work off some steam. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have like actual trauma,
like dark thought, yeah, it's not like I choked 6 guys.
Also need to go to fucking therapy. And I think, especially like these, you know, more so I'm speaking to like actual athletes that are promoting this and kids are looking up to. I don't think it's good to kind of promote that. That's the only thing you need.
That in lieu of medicine or professional help.
Yeah, or even in lieu of medicine.
Yeah. I could see that because you're right. It is not you did not really work anything out.
No,
maybe just some surface level stress, tension, but you didn't like
get to the actual root of the problem.
Deal with something of your true depression or your whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah, you just delayed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Delayed dealing with it.
Not that this is the Sean Rover Show, but I think I thought a lot about this too.
Yeah.
I think it's a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
Because I found that there are people that actually have the opposite, where they're like, jiu-jitsu's not your therapy. Jiu-jitsu's not your therapy. I was like, fuck you. I need this. And I
it creates it helps keep your balance.
More therapy than me. So like people like to think of it as like a this or that kind of thing.
No, it's a part. That's why I said like.
100%.
No, because even me, when I started jiu-jitsu, I was very unhappy. Like, it's funny because I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, wow, like I'm like very happy now. But I was very unhappy. And I remember like every time I feel sad, I'll go to jiu-jitsu. But to my own point, it wasn't fixing the problem. It was just like getting me through. Like for that night, I was like, it was just a Band-Aid
for the day.
It was a Band-Aid. That's a good way of putting it and I had such bad anxiety. And I will say this, I didn't believe in anxiety. When people talk about anxiety, I'm like, that's made up. Yeah, like you're drinking too much coffee. Because I never felt it. So I was like, you're just a fucking like hypochondriac. Like something's wrong with you. Yeah. And that was ignorant on my part. And then when I, for the first time, felt anxiety and like literally couldn't get my heart to stop beating, I was like, what is this? And I want to stop beating.
Feeling this, yeah.
And I started jujitsu and I noticed if I train, that went away. Yeah. So anytime I felt that, I would do jujitsu.
That's like the energy. There's energy in there that needs to get out.
Yes.
It needs to get out.
And I was overthinking. I was just sitting and thinking about my issues over and over.
Yeah, it's like negative energy. It's like, just go work it out.
And I couldn't
sweat a little bit.
And I can't think about it when I'm like defending a guillotine. Yeah. Like, I can't physically think about.
You got to do something else. Yeah.
Right. And so for me, like to Sean's point, it's not all or none because I do believe jujitsu allowed me to not get on medication because I remember it was at the point where for the first time in my life, my therapist was like, you know, if you're having constant heart palpitations, like maybe we should try something. And I was like, I was really against it. I'm not against it for everybody, but for myself, I was like, there's gotta be another way. Like, and I did jujitsu and, you know, in a couple months I was completely fine. Yeah. But with other things, it wasn't just getting my ass beat.
A lot of times people do that in conjunction with like 2 or 3 other things, right? They start sleeping better, eating better, and doing jujitsu.
It's different.
So it's like, well, jujitsu was a piece.
The
sleeping and the eating helped.
Yes.
And the friends you made also helped.
But if you're going to jujitsu to get your mind off things, and then you're going home and you're treating your wife or your husband like shit,
you missed the mark.
You're missing the mark.
You fucked it up. You missed it. You missed it very badly.
Yeah. So
don't do that.
Don't do that. And yes, I would say that's a good way of putting it. It's a piece of the puzzle. Like it can be a part of your therapy, but it's not your therapy, 100%.
Pen drop.
Pen drop. Anything else?
No, that's it for me. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
This was a lot of fun. Yeah, I'll be at Albert Davis Comedy on Instagram.
There you go.
Seriously Dad podcast on Instagram and in life with co-host Jay Yoder, Neil Wood, Drop Tent organization.
Nice.
Drop Tent Studios, I should say. Check me out. You'll see me in New York, Philadelphia, Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland area, and just about anywhere else that'll book a show with me on it.
Yeah.
I'll be in the Poconos not too far.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going on vacation in Hawaii in a couple
I
weeks.
love Hawaii.
Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome.
Simple
Thanks
shit.
for coming.
Thanks for having.